Hello, I'm Elaine, and I'm a tour guide in the French Quarter. I do ghost tours, and I am not going to tell you the stories that I tell on my tour because you got to pay for those. But if you want to hear some interesting things that have happened to me while I'm leading random drunk people around the French Quarter, I got you.
This weekend was French Quarter Fest, and French Quarter Fest is honestly usually a pretty calm festival for us. It's loud as hell because there's music everywhere, but the people are usually pretty well behaved, and somehow this year, they did not get the memo. Like, oh my god, I only worked 2 of the 3 days, but on one tour alone, the Saturday tour for 5 p.m., I think it was 6 different people interrupting my tour. And like that day, it was all people just, being jerks. I had a lady who was walking the wrong way down a one-way street, pushing a cart down the middle of the street. And originally she was screaming at all the cars who were honking at her because she was blocking traffic. But then when she got to me, for no reason whatsoever, I had not even looked at this woman, she suddenly turns and starts screaming about how I'm a fucking bitch. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, she's just gone away. When a group of frat bros walk by, push their way through the tour, even though there's room for them to go around. Like, I even step out of their way to make sure there's plenty of room for them to go around. And they are screaming all the while about, why would you listen to history? History's boring. You don't need history. Why would you come to New Orleans in history? Don't you know this is for partying? And I'm sitting here like, are you effing kidding me? These people did pay for history because they want to. Maybe don't police what they want to do. But also, fun fact, the partying doesn't exist without the history, friend. Because the partying exists because of the history. Also, it is sort of a privileged take to not give a shit about history. But that was annoying enough, and like we had a couple more interruptions. My favorite was I was doing the Casket Girls story, which is about vampires. And fun fact, if you come on my tour, you'll get to learn the reasons the Casket Girl story, the traditional one, is not true. But I was telling this story, and I'd already passed that. We had moved on to talking about the ghosts at the Ursuline Convent. And an incredibly cute young man wearing a cutoff shirt, itty-bitty shorts, and bunny ears stops behind me to, like, just scream over and over again, nah, man, she's lying. They really are vampires. One of them sucked my cock. And I was just sitting here like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, why? And I had a couple more interruptions that night, but none of them were that entertaining. But the second night of French Quarter Fest, there was a theme, and the theme was people trying to steal my fucking tour and calling me a bitch for daring to tell them no. And it started pretty much right at the beginning. Like, I think it was the second stop, I had someone come up and join my tour, and I had to pause and be like, hi, are we blocking you? Are you, like, trying to get by? And I usually try to lead with that right now, because sometimes people literally are just trying to get by, and it's like, oh, that's an easy fix. But also it's a way to address them without hopefully immediately putting them on edge. But no, this weekend they just kept being like, oh, well, I'm just listening. And I'm like, okay, well, if you'd like to join, this is a paid event. And I tried this weekend with like, well, if you'd like to join, you can book on our company website. And over again, they kept just being like, well, no, I'm just going to stand here and listen. And I'm like, don't, for the love of God, don't make me have to deal with this. And the first one just called me an absolute bitch for telling him he couldn't just listen to the tour for free, and walked away screaming about how I've been doing this for 30 years. And I will admit, I was already on frayed temper, so I snapped back. Then you've been stealing from people for 30 years. And meanwhile, his wife is trying desperately to pull him away with an embarrassed look on her face, which will also be a theme of this. Because we had, I think, that night on one tour alone, 5 people stopped to try to join the tour. And, like 4 of them had a wife with them that were trying to pull them away. But the second one that came up only like 2 minutes after this first guy had left, was at the Lalaurie Mansion. So I'm like, I'm trying to be serious here. There is a lot of seriosity going on. And he walks up and stands right next to one of my guests, like literally shoulders abutting him. And I'm like, hi, can I help you? And he's like, oh, well, I'm just listening. And I'm like, well, if you'd like to join a tour, this is how you can book a ticket. And he's like, oh yeah, I'd like to join. I'm like, okay, well, it's $37. And he's like, oh, no, I ain't paying that. I'm like, okay, then you're not joining a tour. And he's like, is it because I'm black? And I'm like, no. And he looks around at all my guests and he says, they're all white. It's because I'm black. And I'm like, no, it's because you have not booked a ticket. And to make it even worse, no, not all of my guests were white. And one of them was Latina and was very offended for being called white. But that was fine. I finished the story somehow, stumbling through it. And at the very last stop, a guy pushes his way through my group and once again steps to the front of the group. And I'm like, have y'all never heard of subtlety? For the love of God, try for subtlety. But that means I have to stop pretty much immediately and be like, hi, can I help you? Are we blocking you? What's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm just listening. I'm like, okay, well, this is a tour. If you'd like to book, here's how you book tickets. And he's like, well, I was a streetcar driver for 30 years. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, and I'm just listening. I'm like, okay, well, it's a tour. You have to book it. And he's like, well, you can't make me leave. I'm just going to stand here. And meanwhile, his wife is trying desperately, waving for him to come. And I'm like, okay, guys, we're just going to move. And he starts to follow us. And I'm like, sir, if you follow us, I do have to call the cops because that is harassing a tour guide. And he's like, no, you can't call the cops on me. I'm like, I can. I don't want to, especially not considering it's going to take like 20 minutes for them to arrive and they probably won't do anything in the first place. But I can. And he then calls me the C word and a couple of other words and says, well, I ain't gonna tip you now. I was gonna tip you. And I'm like, no, you weren't. If you're stealing a tour, you're not then gonna turn around and tip the tour guide. And if you do, you're still not helping because you're still stealing from me. But my favorite bit of that particular interaction, as he walked away, his wife turned and looked at me and said, I like your fan. And I said, thank you. Have a good day. And she was like, you too, sweetheart. And I was just like, what is my life? But yeah, generally speaking, guys, yeah, stealing a tour may seem harmless, but it is incredibly disruptive. It can cost us our license if the tour taxi cab bureau thinks that you are extra guests on our tour and we are over numbers, but also we're paid to do this. And if you want to steal the tour, just be faintly subtle so we can like make it through a couple of lines before we have to stop. Like, oh my God.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below.